I've got a bunch of new subscribers to the Substack, and I'm changing up the social media strategy a bit. I'm getting off of Facebook, and I'm going to stream on YouTube and Twitter only. I really think it's time to move away from Facebook. It's so provincial. It's the same people who've been talking to each other for years and years and years and arguing about the same thing for years and years and years. And it's time to move on. I'd like to build a bigger audience, a national audience, even an international audience. And I think Twitter, YouTube, and Substack are the ways to go for that. Pretty good reach with the Mechonomist Substack thus far. Only 28% of my subscribers are from Alabama. So about 75% are from elsewhere in Alabama, which I think is pretty good, but we would like to get an even bigger reach. Mechonomist is my blog. Um, I talk about basically revolutionary political theory, which some people think is really weird. And it is. It is weird to a degree. My basic theory is just high levels of decentralization. Um, and maybe that's not even really revolutionary anymore because everybody's talking about it. But the idea that the world is going to agree on one thing ideologically is just ridiculous. And the idea that even, you know, a state the size of Alabama with 4.9 million people is going to agree ideologically is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I think a lot of leftist politics has revolved around trying to get people converted to an ideological sensibility, and it's just not going to happen. I mean, it's not. It's not going to happen. There's always going to be people who don't like gay people. There's always going to be people who don't like women. Um, and if those people are going to exist, then it's better for them to live together in their own small community than it is for them to be able to control an entire state like Alabama, even though they're the minority. And they are the minority in Alabama. Only 37% of people voted in the last election in Alabama, 62% didn't even show up. So, and those 37% voted for Republicans. So it's a minority run state. It's always been a minority run state. It's always been run by wealthy industrialists and planters. It probably always will be. If we could have a revolution with a new constitution and high levels of decentralization, I think people would be a lot happier. And people would be able to live with people who are like minded to them. And I think that's basically what people want is to live with people who are like minded to them. And they get caught up in the politics of bullshit of trying to convert people and try and force people to believe the way they do. It's just never going to happen. We're going to have to either break off into small communities that are ideologically similar, or we're going to have to really embrace pluralism on all sides and be like, yeah, well, I don't agree with you, but that's okay. I like you anyway. And that's the way I am. You know, I don't agree with a lot of people on a lot of things. I have my own weird politics, and but I don't have any animosity towards anybody except for maybe the leaders of this weird country that we live in. But some regular person has weird ideas from QAnon to, you know, Biden's the savior. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm the executive director of the Automotive Free Clinic, which is a free and low cost automotive repair shop in Prattville, Alabama. We've been in business, we're a nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit. We've been in business for 3.5 years. And in that time, we've repaired almost 360 vehicles. So that's pretty cool. And all of the proceeds from Mechonomist, the Substack, go to the Automotive Free Clinic. It's not much. We only have like 7 paid subscribers. Wished it was more, but I mean, it's not nothing. It's $400-500 a year, but it's not nothing. I'm also one of the founding members of Iran Educational and Economic Resource Organizing Network, which is a decentralized network of mutual aid and educational organizations across the South. And that network is what we're attempting to model. We're attempting to model a new society off of. It's a very diverse network, different ideological leanings. We're about to add, it's 5 organizations now. We're about to add 2 more. And it's like highly diverse, but it's not like we're trying to convince each other to join our ideological little cult. We're sort of like, you can have your ideology in your place in what you're doing, and we'll coordinate with you, we'll raise money with you, we'll share information with you, we'll help each other, in the ways that we can, we'll trade with each other, that sort of thing. But as far as like trying to convince people to follow a particular ideology, that's not going to happen because it's just impossible. And so we're diverse in a real meaningful way in that we're ideologically diverse, racially diverse, gender diverse. We're actually, it's not just a superficial diversity of the way people look and the same, and everybody looks different but thinks the same. It's everybody looks different and thinks differently. And even in the automotive free clinic, we have people who are conservative who volunteer for us, work for us. It's not a question. The question is, can you fix cars? What do you bring to the table? How can you help the community? That sort of stuff. It's not really like, do you fit this purity test? And, that purity test, and it's aided by social media. Like, because social media, you only see what people are thinking. You don't see what people are doing. And it makes you think that people are what they think, and people aren't what they think. People are what they do. And a lot of people think one way and do differently. A lot of people. There's plenty of people who talk about being ethical who are highly unethical, and there's plenty of people who have weird political ideas who are the most ethical people in the world. So, that's what the Automotive Free Clinic does. Like, I'm really excited and proud of what we've accomplished. I mean, it's pretty impressive, I must admit. It's hard. Working on cars is really hard, and the phone ringing all the time is really hard, and managing all the networks and is hard, and fundraising is hard. It's a lot. It's a lot, but we're getting it done. And then the last part of Mechonomist is my pride and joy is my 1985 Toyota 4Runner. And I built it up into a rock crawler. It's got 488 gears and a locker in the rear. It's got old man emu suspension on it. It's got a rebuilt and built out 22 RE engine. It's probably about 180 horses. And it's got a soft top on it. We call it the redneck convertible. And rebuilt transmission, pretty sweet little stereo setup. It's a cool little thing. So those are the three things that Mechonomist is about. Mechonomist is about revolutionary politics that might actually not be all that revolutionary anymore. It's about building out that theory in the real world through the Automotive Free Clinic in Iran, and it's about my truck. So that's who I am. Some other things about me: I have a PhD from Berkeley. I was an organizer in Birmingham for about 8 years, which seemed like a lifetime ago. And the work I did there is probably one of my biggest regrets, if not my biggest regret in my life. The way I behaved and the way I allowed people to treat me there is just not. It was bad on all sides. And I got a great wife who's also an executive director. I won't call her name because she wants to stay out of my weird politics. And I have schizoaffective disorder, which is a pretty severe mental illness that I really struggle with. And it's from childhood trauma. But that's pretty much it. Mechonomist. Please subscribe, themadredneck.substack.com, or donate at automotivefreeclick.org. We'll see y'all next time. Peace, y'all.